Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we are going to uh, address how to do color change options in SnowRunner and how to implement those. So we have our body here in Substance Painter, and what we do is just come in, bake the mesh maps like we normally do. And I'm just going to arbitrarily choose a texture to put on here. Um, we'll go with nice gloss black. So normally what you would end up doing is exporting this, and that would be the color of the truck. However, let's say we want to make it so we can change this color within the garage menu, which we know is an option. You can do that with the vanilla trucks and a lot of other mods. So how do we get that to work? First, we're going to export these textures as they are. And we're going to go back and pick different folder rather than going directly to the tutorial truck, which I've now renamed XJ because I'm actually making this into a actual mod. Rather than going into there and dumping it into the folder that the truck has, I've created this texture dump folder. And what that is a folder where I literally dump all the textures into. So we're going to select that folder, and we're going to select a different, normally I would use this no EM, which in my last tutorial I explained how to make the exports, and I labeled this one no EM as it has no emissive maps. But I've also set this other one up called that I named color change. To create the color change, what I did was I went through the no EM, or actually I took the original SnowRunner that was given to me, um, and I created this color change out of it. I duplicated it, and I kept the emissive in there just in case I need it. But the main ones that we need are the normals, the ND, the shader, the SHD, and the DA, which is the main color. So what I did was I took the DA and duplicated it slightly. I still have the same RGB values, but rather than opacity grayscale, I used the default white. And I named them with underscore CC, underscore underscore D, and underscore WT, underscore underscore D. Those two are the main files that we need, the names of the main files that we need for color change to work. We need underscore CC, underscore underscore D. It's two underscores at the end. Whereas these were two underscores at the beginning and then a single. We flip it around. It's underscore CC, underscore underscore D, underscore WT, underscore underscore D. So using those, that's going to produce the two files that we need to allow color change to happen. So I'm going to pick the color change. We're going to go based on output template again because we want it as a TGA file. We're going to export those. Save settings. Now if I come into here, into my game SnowRunner media mods, this is where I put my texture dump folder. You know what? I have a whole ton of stuff in here from other past. This is why I use a texture dump folder. I can just delete it and not worry about it because I've already copied those to other areas. So let's go back into here, export again, export textures. We're going to use that color change, export, save settings. We'll go back into the texture dump and we see it gives us 6 files. Now we already know we don't need the emissive because we're not making anything light up and glow at night. So we don't care about that. What we do need are these 3 files right here. Those are the 3 main color files. The DA will be the default color when you first purchase the truck. So this color here, whatever we assign it, that's going to be the default color of the truck when we first launch it. So what I'll do is I'll take those three, we'll cut them, go back to mods, go in here, textures, trucks, paste. We'll replace the files because there were already three in there. Okay. And we're going to come back to Substance Painter. And this is where things get a little tricky, but it's not that bad. First thing we need to do is duplicate the layer twice. So we're going to make two more layers out of it. The first layer is going to be, we're going to focus on the CC portion of this, which is controlled. What this does is it tells the game where different colors are applied to the truck. It's kind of like a map, is so to speak. So what we need to do is we need to make this full red. Full red is the first color within the XML file. In fact, let me open one of those up for you. Okay, so within your folders, you will need inside of classes another folder that says customization presets. Inside customization presets with an underscore, we're going to have customization preset.xml. We'll open that up. And this should have come with the mod scout. And you have the truck name, which obviously this came from mod scout. This name here needs to match the name of your truck. So in my case, it would be xj underscore new, which I'll end up renaming again later. And then it has all the customization presets. So you have skin 0, skin 1, which we'll get to in just a second. The thing is, though, I don't like how Saber has laid these out. I'm used to having it more like this. To me, it just makes it a little easier to read, because then I have each one is its own little block, and I know which is which. And I don't have to keep scrolling over. And that's up to you. That's just a personal preference. Now, going back to what I was talking about here, the first one is going to be red. We can't see it right now because this black is covering it. But if we hide that layer, it's full red. Full red is dictated by this line right here, the first tint color. Anything that is full red will become whatever color these three numbers represent. These are RGB values. So 255, 255, 255 would be solid white. 000 is solid black. 255, 0, 0 is full red, because it's red, green, and blue. So as you mix the three, you get different colors. 255, 255, 0 would be full yellow. You can go to Google and just type in whatever a name of a color or whatnot and RGB value, and you'll find plenty of resources that'll tell you exactly which numbers to use to get whatever color you need to make. So that is tint color number 1 is bright red. Tint color number 2 is we come into here. We need to go full red, which gives us 1. Tint color number 2, if we change the G to 1, it gives us bright yellow. So tint color number 2 is controlled by full yellow. So in Substance Painter, it's 1, 1, and 0. And that gives us color number 2. How does that matter? Because, I mean, the thing's all bright yellow. Well, if I apply a black mask to this, it goes back to red, and I can do whatever I want on here, and only the parts that I paint yellow will change to that color. So this is how you get two-tone paint jobs. You could do stripes, you could do whatever you want with that color, and it's going to then follow what you put in here. So right now I'd have a yellow truck with this section here would be black. Tint color number 3 in here, you have up to 3 options for different color schemes. If we duplicate this layer again, we change this color, we put a 1 in over here into the blue section, it makes a bright pink. That is what controls color number 3. So again, we could add a black mask, and let's say we wanted the hood a different color than all the rest. Color in hood real quick. And now we would have tint color 3 would change the color of the hood, tint color 2 would change the lower half of the body, and tint color 1 would change the upper half of the body. You can have 3 different colors, and you can make as many customization presets as you want. So let's say we wanted number 2. See, number 2 is already at 0, 0, 0, so it would be black with a white lower half and a black hood. And again, you could put whatever numbers you want in there, and you can just keep copying these down and make as many as you like. Now, as far as the skins go, skin 0 and skin 1, you could have as many skins as you want. Those are dictated here in the mesh XML, where we are telling it every single material that we covered in the last episode. So as you tell it which materials you want, this is where you tell it also which skins you use in this material override section. Skin 0 is going to tell it only look at what's labeled as skin 0. Anything skin 1 doesn't get looked at. We would end up adding, let's close a couple of these. We don't need all those open. So for skin 1, you would just copy this section here, make a new one in skin 1, and you could tell it to use a different CC or a different WT file, so it would change the pattern. So if you wanted to say make camouflage and you just wanted some crazy cow print or whatever looking, you could just do this and use that as a separate, you create a secondary file, and now those sections would change, and it would only be on the parts that are saying skin 1. Kind of getting ahead of myself though, because let's finish up trying to get skin 0 done. So what we would do is we can turn off that original layer and we keep whatever colors we want to change. You're going to file, export the textures again. It should still be set up to your texture dump. Export the files, save settings. We're going to come back to that texture dump, and we're going to see it made all new files. We don't care about the normals and the shading because we're keeping the same amount of gloss and whatnot. If you were changing how glossy the truck was and you wanted to make some of the colors be flat, you could change the shading. We also don't want to, this is the main reason why I use a texture dump. If you notice now, the DA, which is your normal spawning color, like when you first spawn the truck, it's been overwritten and it's now all red and yellow and pink. That's not going to change color when you spawn it. So we don't want to copy that. So we can delete those files. We also don't need that one. We're only focused on these two. One of them being the CC. So what we're going to do is take the CC, go back to mods, go back to the truck folder, textures, trucks, and paste it in there. So now we have the CC in there. Now again, that controls the colors that are going through. The final step to make color change work is you need the WT layer. So I will duplicate this layer one more time. And we change the color to bright white. Turn off the other layers, make it all white. So that is the final portion. We're going to export textures again. Export, save. We go back into our folder. We notice now the DA, the CC are overwritten with white. The one we want is the WT. So we're going to cut that. Go back to mods, go back to the truck, back to textures, trucks, paste. So now we have our WT in there. So we have all the files that we need to make color change work. You need the WT and you need the CC. So in here, in the material override, we need to make sure that we are calling out the same that we did before. So it's XJ body mat. Making sure that we match the same body section here. So the material target name is going to be XJ body mat. And that is going to be XJ body. Just making sure that these names match the files that you have in here. Okay, so I went ahead while the game was loading and whatnot. I changed the name to XJ New in the customization preset. Let's save this. Load. So we have all those named correctly. If you notice now we have the customization up here. Okay, so after a quick resave and reload in the game, if I click on preset 0, we'll see it's taking this yellow color that I had plus the black. In fact, let's put these as bright red. Fine. Save that, reload, and that'll show you exactly where everything is. Take it off, put it on. So, as we can see, we now have a poorly painted red hood, some black spots on the roof, along with some red spots on the roof, plus this black door. And if we go into here, we can turn these back on. And remember I said anything yellow is controlled by the second number, which is 000 right now, which is black. We'll come in here. Anything that was yellow now changes to black. Anything that was pink in here is controlled by the third number, which I set to 25500, which is red in the game. Those areas are now red. So you can kind of get a map as to what is going to be what color. When all the numbers are identical, like this one here, 137, 76, 54, when they're all identical like that, we come in, it makes it all the same color. So you can't even see that there's any kind of pattern or anything. It just all blends together. Preset 3, 4, and 5 were set for skin 1, which I don't have a skin 1 defined in here, so it just ignores them. So that's why these aren't actually doing anything, because they're not defined, so skin 1 isn't going to actually work. If I came in here and changed these to skin 0, save it, reload. Now they actually work, because skin 1 is, or skin 0 is being defined. So again, you can see there's the 3 different colors that are in there, as defined by the 3 tints that are in here. That is the absolute basics of color change. The only other note that I could make is if you had accessories in here that are chrome or whatnot, let's just say in here, I know that this isn't the proper thing, but let's say this section here was supposed to be chrome. Bump our paint layer to the top. Let's just say that that was supposed to be chrome. The better way to do that would be remove that layer. We're going to fill the whole thing, and we'll use a black mask on it. And let's just say that this section needed to be chrome for some reason, or any other color beyond the body color where we need to have different parts. And we don't want this to color change. We want it to be chrome no matter what color the truck changes to. To make that happen, when you first export your DA, you'll have all your colors turned on. The DA will be looking how the truck spawns. If we were to export the truck like this, that could get a tint to it. It could end up taking on a different shade of whatever color this main color ends up being. So to prevent that, what I'll do is duplicate the layer, turn off the chrome layer that we wanted, that goes with that one, and we will change that to pick it black. Anything that is solid black in the CC will not change color at all. So by changing that to solid black, that tells the game this area does not change color ever. So let me pause real quick. I'll export this stuff and come right back, and we can show you what that looks like in the game. Okay, so back in the game, I went through and exported with the chrome from there, and then I changed it to black to do the CC layer, and this is what we got. If you notice, that is nice and chrome. We come through, it stays chrome no matter what we pick for a color. And that's because we set it to black in here. So again, anything you want to prevent from changing color, make solid black in your CC export. Beyond that, everything else should work fine. Again, hope you learned something, and the final episode of this tutorial series will come next with how to create custom tires. So Thanks for watching, and see you next time.